So they're not very cheerful today. This last week's been meth with Charlie. Oh, sorry, I'm going to get emotional here in a minute, but I don't know. That was a mess. I'm sure you guys had similar reaction to it that I did. That we lost a spokesman, and not the political part. I happen to agree with the political part, but the bigger thing was the fact that he was very open about his Christianity, and I believe that what his speech was when he did talk about politics was the fact that we need to vote biblically. But I don't know how it affected you guys, but it's kind of made me think that I need to pick up my game. That I'm spending a lot of time at work. Been invited several times out by Jay and the organization to go out and witness, and I haven't taken advantage of that. Also, the stuff that ended in Redlands, I haven't really looked into other places to do it. But all that to say is just that that kind of event, it's stirred something that it seems like I need to get more active in sharing God's love for people. It's just I don't know how you guys felt about it, what you heard about it, what all the details about it were, but Charlie was just doing what he does. Was out talking to people about reality, trying to get people to live their life biblically, because he felt that was, and it wasn't something that he thought and he wanted to implement on somebody or force on somebody. He just wanted to let them know that it was his way and that he felt that it was the best route for everybody. And he had his reasons. I listened to him and he was just, somebody threw a question at him and it was just right out. He taught himself and invested himself into the Bible to see it all. And when somebody asked him a question, it wasn't a problem for him. He just had it right there. Now I'm sure they probably filmed a couple that, or didn't film a couple that he didn't have a direct answer. But I think for the most part, he was what I could see on what he did get filmed on, and they didn't interrupt. He always had an answer, and it was biblically backed up. So I don't know. What did you get out of it?
Well, I think it's obviously a tragedy, but as any martyr, the aftermath has a lot of implications. I've seen a lot of social media posts where people are now looking at God. Former atheists or current atheists are now saying, well, maybe I need to give God a second look, so to speak. And so I think that he was speaking to a generation that was seeking. No doubt he had a positive influence on many American youth, and I'm sure many people did start seeking the Lord and a relationship with Jesus, and many did come to faith, and hopefully many will. I also agree that I think it's a wake-up call to the Christian community about sharing faith, and how important that is in love. I've heard a lot of, as I'm sure most people have, there's been a lot of rhetoric sort of celebrating his death and accusing him of being hateful and bigoted and this kind of thing. And Kelly, I wasn't a big follower of Charlie Kirk's. I hear him from time to time. I've seen a few more, but I can say that in what I heard of him, I never heard him come out with hateful rhetoric. I didn't hear him come out with bigoted commentary. And his emphasis was on love, and he was a very obviously loving husband and father, and I think an excellent role model for someone who does have the courage to go out and try to be a change maker in our society.
Yeah, I think a lot of his I don't know what to call it, success, I guess, was the fact that he was always at a tone that was joyful. When somebody came and said something to him that was, they call them names all the time. You watch him on YouTube, about every other person was cussing at him. But it never really, I never really saw him get affected by it. He just, that's your opinion, but I still like you. I'll still talk to you. Let's have a conversation. I think that was probably his conversation was the most often word he used, because he wanted to talk to people about it. And yeah, I think his demeanor had a lot to do with it. They get mad at him, they'd yell at him, throw stuff at him sometimes, but it never really deterred him from doing what he does. Because like you were saying, he was always level, he was always friendly, and even when people didn't agree with him, he still wanted to give him a hat.
Well, and I think this comes back to things that we've talked about here, that we need to look past the person. We understand that there's a spiritual battle underlying all this.
Yeah.
And as the Bible tells us, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, that there's spiritual forces. And so when somebody does come off like that, just like Charlie, we need to, and I'm speaking to myself, need to look past the animosity, the aggression, and try to come to a place of love and reasonableness.
Yeah, and it's I've thought about that quite a bit, and my ministry is a lot of time on Facebook. You guys might see it occasionally. I've realized that maybe I'm not being quite as friendly as Charlie as well. It's easier to be friendly with someone when you're face to face with them as opposed to online, because things get heated. But that being said, I realize that I need to change the way I approach things as well. Be a little more patient with people and that I talk to as well.
Me
so
too.
Anyway, all that said, I wanted to give a tribute to Charlie, because he was a good guy, and he really tried his best to get out God's message. And he also just tried to help people out. If they were having trouble, he always wanted to try to give them the facts and the ideas that might help them. So